So let's look at, we're going to transition now from looking at just symbolism to looking at word play. And this is something that many people won't get because they're too left-brained imbalanced and can't see the dynamic of what is known as green language. Or if you want to look this up, look up the language of the birds. This is alchemical pun language. It is not meant to be taken 100% totally literally, nor even as the direct intent of the people who came up with a specific word. It could also be an example of synchromysticism working itself out in the universe to bring certain things to our attention. And we need to be conscious enough to recognize the pattern. This is why the alchemists called it the language of the birds. It's something you have to be quiet to hear. You have to have a balanced brain to be able to interpret or read this language. It is verbal, but it is verbal and symbolic simultaneously. Green language, which we left off talking about last week, is symbolic word pun or word play language. This does not necessarily have to be deliberately constructed by the person who constructed any given language. It seems that this type of word pun language, which is called either alchemical language or green language, it is also sometimes referred to as the language of the birds. And this is another pun because it's the language of bards, okay, of people who are coming forward using their voice to speak truths into creation. So green language or alchemical language, first of all, does not have to be deliberately intended. It could be, as I mentioned last week, an example of what is known as synchromysticism, which is the seemingly mundane is somehow speaking to us through language, through symbol, sometimes through art.